Hey everybody, we're here live at Beeline Support in Chicago, Illinois. I'm with Jamie Henry, the CEO and founder. You know, on these episodes, we like to do on-sites. So nothing better than in my hometown in Chicago, I'm doing a on-site visit with Jamie in her beautiful space. Again, you see the logo back there, and why I'm pointing at the logo, you guys, is as you walk through the space, you're gonna see the brand identity throughout the space. So I'm super excited, Jamie. Thank you for having me.
So glad you guys are here. Thank you.
So if you don't mind, let's take a walk through the space
Sure.
and show us how did obviously this place didn't look like this when you first got
so
here.
this building I think is, it's well over 150 years old. So
That's not old. It's new.
this particular space right here that you're standing in it had a really low drop ceiling. It had very ugly colors of puke green and who knows what else going on in here. So we open it up, brighten it up, and yeah, you can see our logo and sort of our colors throughout the office space. So we did a little bit of rehab before we all landed and started working here every day.
Nice. So Jamie, one thing I wanted to ask you, because I went through this myself, is when you bought the place and you had to come up with a vision for the space. Again, we're in the cleaning industry.
Yeah.
We run cleaning companies. Did you have a vision that this place would look like this? Did you have an idea of what did you wanted your office to look like?
Well, I like a lot of light and bright and airy. So unfortunately,
This had none of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we put in some skylights and we just rebuilt that exterior wall. So we did as much as we could with a sort of a dark windowless space. And I think we did a good job.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to walk and talk, you guys. And the reason why I like these two, Jamie, is not everybody gets to see the inside of another cleaning company owner's facility, right? This is your home. This is your team's headquarters, right? And I love these because it could also motivate and inspire other cleaning business owners, right? That first office is probably their desk.
Yeah,
The
this is
second
very
office-
different than our first office for sure.
Second
Absolutely.
office, maybe a little bit bigger, like 1,000 square feet,
Yeah.
2,000. This is where ultimately I think a lot of the small business owner community and in the cleaning space, where they want to get to, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to get, this is, as you guys will see, right? It is a nice, big, open, airy space. The warehouse, Bow Trust, you guys know how I love Bow Trust buildings. Walk us through
Sure.
the space as we walk through.
Well, I feel like there's not really a ton to show you here other than our main cubicle area. We have a couple private offices. We've added some windows. Like I said, we added some skylights in here. And again, it's really just about an open space and lots of color and bright and airy as best as we could do it.
But I would tell you, Jamie, what it feels like. Technology places always, they shine because they got like an open co-sharing space. That's kind of what I feel like when you're here, right? You walk in, it's the team. You're working along the team. As you guys saw when I was talking about the colors, right? All the chairs are orange. We're going to turn around and look at the other places. Again, orange, black, gray.
Yeah.
Were those the original colors of Beeline?
Yeah, we've
From day
always
one?
had the orange.
Okay.
Yep. And like I said, though, this office is very different than we started actually in an attic of my house. So we've come a long way for sure.
Damn, nice. And then, so as we get to do our sit down, I actually wanted to touch on that. Beeline, how many years has it been open?
So the story behind Beeline, my dad started the original Beeline back in the 1960s, and he was a part-time police officer, serial entrepreneur up in the suburbs. I think he was on the Niles Police Department, and he had all these kids that he needed to feed, and he kept getting alarm calls at a particular building, and he asked the security, whoever at the building, hey, do you need someone to clean? And so that's how he sort of started this first cleaning type.
So nothing to do with
anything other than like, I need to make extra cash. I have all these kids at home. And then he had a few buildings and also started an appliance repair store. So in Glenview, he had a shop on Waukegan Road, and they did vacuum repairs. So that was the Beeline that I bought in 1997, was 4 buildings and 10 employees.
Wow.
And he got rid of the appliance repair store many years before that.
And why that's important, guys, too. Again, it's like, like the stigma, right? Jamie is like, oh, you got a cleaning company. Oh, you clean houses. It's like, no
houses.
There's no houses. There's more. It's commercial side. But that's why we're gonna have some fun getting into the story of Jamie and Beeline and the whole team here, because there's a lot to speak to your history and the experience you have in this industry. But there's always a but. There's Tom. But I wanted to point out an individual here, not per se just because his name is Tom and it's Tom, the role. what's the title and what's the role that Tom plays here? with you,
So
Jamie?
Tom is our director of safety and compliance, but he has a lot of niche certifications and knowledge. We're focused very heavily on healthcare, so he's our resident expert in infectious control.
All right, so you guys heard that, right? Like,
Yeah.
not many cleaning company owners, and I don't have that title in my company, that's for sure. But that's how serious you take this, right? And how
Yeah.
serious healthcare is your.
Yeah, so
what-
Tom, Mr. Clean back there, he has a
Mr. Clean.
a certificate of mastery in infection prevention, and then also, I would call him over here, certified train the trainer for surgical suites. And then he's just finishing up his CHESP certified environmental housekeeper certification next week too. So everything to do with cleaning medical, surgical, hospitals, he's got that knowledge, so then he can train our managers who can then train our crews to clean at the highest level.
That was a mouthful. You heard
Yeah.
all that, right? We're going to put that
lot
in
of
the
fancy words
description.
in there.
A lot of fancy
Yeah.
words in there. All right, cool. Well, you guys, I want to get into the gist of it and go sit down and talk with Jamie. So we'll be right back. We're going to catch you at the sit down. Looking forward to it. Everybody, welcome back again. As I told you, we're going to get down to the sit down with Jamie Henry here from Beeline Support. But before I keep on talking, I wanted to set the stage, Jamie, and say thank you. Again, we've only had a few of fellow cleaning business owners that have allowed us into their space, but I want more to happen. But again, thank you. I know this takes time out of your busy day, but as we said earlier, is this really allows others, and especially the masses in the cleaning industry, to see you could get to here, right? You can have a space like this, a home for your your employees and your staff and your family to come to. Let's go a little bit further back to before you came here, though. You touched on it. You were in an attic. This wasn't where it all started. So,
Yeah.
Can you take us through that journey? People always want to hear the journey.
In terms of
how you
office
started.
space, okay, I have to think.
Office
Go
space
way
and
back
the
in
business.
The memory banks, but no, definitely started in the attic of my parents' house in the 90s. And then from there, had a small office space in Schaumburg, then Elk Grove, then Schaumburg. And then we had two offices, one in Elk Grove, one in Schaumburg. And then we grew enough downtown Chicago, and I leased space down near Midway from a friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
That has a manufacturing facility. So we were in Schaumburg and Chicago. Anyway, now we're here. I bought this building in, I want to say 2017. And so
Okay.
we've been here since then. And then we still have a small office in Schaumburg and next up Indiana, but that's sort of the...
Nice. Well, and I asked that just because, again, we're in your office, right? I wanted to dig deep into the office space because one question I had for you, because I know we always struggle with this, is, so did you get into the space thinking now you're good, this is good for you, or are you always thinking ahead like we may outgrow this space? And like how do you trigger going from one office to another? Is it growth? Is it expectation?
So I think this space really just the building itself and the neighborhood is fantastic. I think Pilsen has a lot
it's
of
a great spot.
promise in the next 5 to 10 years. So for that reason alone, I don't want to go anywhere. And as you can see, we have ample space. We don't require a lot of space. Our supplies are here and our overhead, infrastructure is here.
Yeah.
And then we have our training center. But truly, we have room. I could have a tenant if I decided to bill out, but we also don't really want to share our space just yet.
it's
So
yours.
we
Yeah.
haven't brought a tenant in. And no, I think we're good here for a while. Yeah.
And one more question on just office, because I think this is what to me is important, especially with what's going on with remote work and all that is like when I walked in, you could feel it, right? Like you have culture when you have an office space. Has that been important for you?
It's very
throughout?
important to me. Yes, COVID was hard. Those months, there were 4 of us that came every single day, and
just
that was
4,
a family
right?
of 4 for a couple of years. But having people back is fantastic. It is important, and we communicate better and more effectively. That's my opinion. I'm sure not everyone agrees with me, but I do like having everyone around. Yeah.
No, I love it. As you can see, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
And if you guys can see in the background, we'll get into this, but this is one of the big reasons too that I wanted to bring everybody here to the Beeline office is the fact that they have a medical cleaning training center. Again, we'll talk more about that later, but I see you guys may see this in the background, but it's one of the competitive advantages that I think Jamie has. So let's talk about real quick, because I'm big on branding and names.
Okay.
Where did support come from in the Beeline name? Because I could see Beeline, right? But Beeline support, that was unique to me too.
I wish I had some great story about this name, but we just don't. The name was The original Beeline maintenance became Beeline. There's nothing to it.
But I like
People always
support
ask
though,
me,
Jamie. Yeah,
and
but
I
like,
think support is really just because for a while we branched off and we did things other than janitorial. Right now we're really sticking to our core business, which is janitorial, medical cleaning. But we were dabbling in construction and preventative maintenance and those types of things. We don't. That's probably where the support came in.
like you were supporting a lot of
We were
different
supporting
departments.
a lot of different things. Yeah.
So we're going to continue to talk about the cleaning experience in the cleaning industry for you, but I also like to touch on you as a person and the family. So
Sure.
is family involved with the business, or is your family and person, or your family and your business life separated, or do you have family that works in the
There's
company?
no family in my business. It's just me in terms of family here and the family that we've created along the way. I have a lot of employees that are here that have been with me 18 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, so we've created
Well,
our,
no, I've seen some of
our
the
own
faces,
family
and I'm
for
like,
sure. Yeah.
like, since I've known Jamie, they've been with Jamie.
Yeah, now whether or not my kids choose to do something, time will tell. They're 18 and 21. Right now they're in college. One's an aspiring next year law student, so we'll see. Maybe I can hire her as an attorney one day.
Did they ever come and help though?
Yeah, so they work.
Because I hear that a lot. With the kids are always involved.
Absolutely. So my son AJ, he worked here quite a bit this summer, doing stuff around the warehouse, painting, you name it, doing a little bit of everything. And then my daughter did a full summer here as a marketing intern.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you got AJ
They've
and
got some exposure.
what's your daughter's name?
Savannah.
Okay, AJ and Savannah. The door is open for you guys to come here when you guys are done with college.
When they're ready, right?
When you're ready. All right. So another cool personal thing that Michelle, I'd make sure she's the one who helps us with the podcast, and she's like, Rick, make sure you ask Jamie about this. You're a Boston Marathon finisher, Ironman. Like that is, I gasp for air when I run 4 miles. I do my morning runs, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So now we're all rooting for Meg, who you passed in the office. She's running her first marathon in a couple weeks. So I'm living vicariously through her because I don't do that anymore because I'm like injured pretty much permanently. But yes, I did the Boston Marathon 3 times, Chicago probably 10, and
oh my
a
God.
few Ironman. Yeah.
So talk about, because this is cool. I like, when Mark Herbick, I was just talking about him earlier, when he was on, and I got to learn about him and his CrossFit, and how does that overlap into his business and mindset? How does, because that's challenging.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
there's something about that whole discipline of training for a marathon or training for an Ironman and just having that structure. And I love structure, so I don't have that right now training for something athletic, but I try and build that around work. So I think it definitely goes hand in hand with whatever career or business you're building. You need to have that discipline.
Like you have a framework for when you're running a marathon, the preparation. I got a buddy that does it, and he's like, he zones in. And he's like, Rick, you don't understand. Like, I have to have a life, but you just don't wake up and run a marathon.
No, and I always had a coach too, so I'm very disciplined. If a coach was writing me the workouts and I had it in a platform called Training Peaks, or whether it was an email with my running coach, I was going to finish those workouts come hell or high water because I was paying a coach and I had these workouts written in front of me, so I made sure to do that. So now in my business, I have a coach as well, and I think that just helps me sort of stay focused on the goals that I have for everything.
So I got to believe like that's accountability, right? Like I have a trainer that when I work out, and my wife and I joke because she's like, I have to though. Like Rick, if we don't have somebody that's like waiting for us at the gym, we won't go, right? Like it's a cop out. You could say, oh, I don't feel like it today. But when you have a trainer that's like, hey man, it's 7:05. You guys coming?
Yeah.
So on the coach piece, because I think that's an important piece for a lot of the audience, which we have a lot of cleaning business owners and just people from the cleaning industry, Jamie. And coaching, I think, is something that should be talked about more, and like mentorship. But coaching, is that part of the CEO International program that you're part of, or where does
CEO,
your coach?
CI, that's the coaching organization. So I have a CEO coach that I work with, and then from that organization. Yes.
And that has how many years, or just started, or how long has that been?
No, I've been with them 7, 8 years, maybe.
Okay. And have you seen a transformation from prior to having a CEO coach to where you are today now?
Yeah, definitely. I did it for a few years and took a break and then came back after COVID, and really helpful. That's also another great organization, like-minded people, good community to tap into. They have a lot of strategic partners, so it's definitely served me
I just
very well.
started Strategic Coach myself.
Yeah, so
that's
similar.
the first introduction that I ever had. And I got to tell you, it's different, right? Like the peers and the network you get there. Not to say, our groups and organizations in the cleaning, but like sometimes it's, you want to learn just business wise, not necessarily just cleaning, right? Like
Yeah.
it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Now, is there a right time that you think somebody should have a coach? Because I do have a lot of cleaning business owners that they'll reach out. They're just starting. They're like year one. Is that too soon for coaching? Like when do you think? Not that there's any right or wrong answer, but like, is it too early sometimes? Or
I don't think so. I mean, if I could go back in time, I certainly would have embraced that sooner. But I just asked my coach yesterday, we had a call, and I was curious. I'm like, how many clients do you have in your book of business right now? And tell me about the range and the size of companies. And he said the smallest one he has does under $1 million in revenue, so not a large company, but they have a coach. So I would believe there's a good reason for it, and it can help anyone at any size. I mean, going back, if I would certainly have done it sooner.
Oh, me too.
For sure.
I mean, I just started a year ago, and it's like, oh my God, I could have cut these corners. Not that it's about cutting corners, but like I would have learned a lot quicker and sooner. So talk to me about, so how many years in the industry did we say again?
Since 1997, so you can do the math. I don't
do the math. All right, so that's
a long time.
26 years.
A long time.
When you got into this, is that a number, or did you think you were going to be in this
No,
space?
I had no plans to get into this business. I just went straight from college to grad school, and then just sort of fell into it, and here I am all these years later.
And are you still having fun? Do you enjoy
this
industry?
like it's actually more fun now. I think the business gets to a certain point, and I have this great team, this great executive team that's been with me for a long time, and there's a lot of trust there, and we have this fun culture. So I love the networking, the building relationships with customers, that whole piece of it. And so the bigger we get and the more time I have to do that and spend my time there, I get to do what I love, and it just gets better.
No, I swear people are like, man, Rick, even this, right? Like, man, you really love this cleaning industry. I was like, man, it's been good for us. Like, my family's happy. I help my family. Like you could see with even in the office, not that you guys had a chance to see, but maybe you will. There's photos of the team. Like it's the real people. It's not like a stock image of this is what it could look like. No, it's the people that work in the business every single day.
Yeah.
So was ever one question I always forget to ask, so I'm happy I remembered here, is 26 years. Moments in time that you were like, that's it. COVID, don't count COVID. Let's not talk about it.
No, forget COVID. That wasn't even one of them. That was like, put your head down and keep going.
Moments that you were like, you know what? I'm not happy.
Stuff can get really hard. I remember in, call it like 2008, the banking crisis, we served a lot of banks. We had portfolios at banks. So all at once we had portfolios closing. The feds would come in on like a Friday night, and
you're just cleaning.
There goes the whole portfolio of banks.
Oh,
that's done. Other ones like major service reductions. That was a crazy period. And then I also very distinctly remember the year 2011 when I had, I want to say like my top 5 customers or some crazy figure. They all went out to bid at the same time. So I had all these like major, largest contracts in jeopardy. And then a couple actually transitioned to national providers. And it was just one of those.
Like the chips kept stacking up against you.
Yeah, it was one of those things. And it was also a very good lesson and never stop selling. I feel like at that point, I might have been a little comfortable and the pressure was not on to just keep selling, and I lost a little bit of momentum.
What I have. I could grow.
Yeah, like we're good. This is like, look at the stage we've gotten to. We had like 300 employees or whatever it was. But I never wanted to experience that again. No. So it's really
ABS,
like
right?
Always be selling. Always be selling.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, especially in this industry, like we just have to keep growing.
And it's people are like, oh God, clients going out for RFP, but at the same time for them, hey, they have the opportunity to that. It's our job to, because I'll tell you, I have some accounts that they're supposed to go out to RFP. Yeah. They don't, but we don't talk about it. They're just like, we don't need to go out for RFP. Right. We're good. We're happy. Yeah. So just because somebody's a part of the RFP, I try to tell people too, is don't look at it like, oh, well, they're going to just go out in 3 years. Well, do everything you can that they won't go, So take a side step here. I'm going to go back to you from personal accomplishments and stuff. Because I remember seeing this, and I seen it, I think, come across LinkedIn. And I was like, oh, I know Jamie. I know that logo. Damn, she got up for that award? The EY Leadership Entrepreneurial Award. It's a big deal. Again, nothing to do with, there's the awards that we get in the cleaning space, but EY to me, that's a big brand and that's recognition. So like, leading up to, did you know, like, and then when you were in the thick of it, like how did that, shift your mindset on like, oh man, like people are recognizing that I'm accomplishing
Yeah,
some
it
good
was
stuff.
wonderful to be nominated. I was nominated a few years prior, and I said, look, I'm not qualified. I just like turned down the nomination and didn't fill out the application. But this time I did, and it was a fun process. There was interviews along the way, and but that was also during COVID, so there was one event, and it was
So it probably could have been even
fantastic,
bigger if it
but
was
it
in
could
person.
have been bigger and better, and
yeah.
it was a little bittersweet. Like the very last stages were on Zoom, that type of thing. But yeah, amazing recognition. Everyone knows EY, incredible organization. So
because I mean, for me, it's like one of those that they take that serious, right? Like Inc. magazine takes it serious.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur magazine, like again, you can promote yourself on there, but like them reaching out, like it's a process. So for you to have to go through the process, that means you got to get your shit together, right? Like, I mean, you have to. So what about, and I say personal because, again, everybody always talks about it, Jamie, is work-life balance. I always struggle with that myself. Do you have any non-negotiables for you? Like, for example, we have the 6:30 text message call that the team knows at the office. I probably said this like 5 episodes in a row now, but I just have to talk about it. Is the team knows if my wife calls 3 times in a row at 6, like I can't even say bye. Like I have to leave. Like
go.
just go, get home. What about you?
now that I don't run marathons anymore, which I'm obviously not happy about, but I get up really early and I walk. I'm up at 5 and I'm out walking by 6:30, 4 to 5 miles. And I've found, now I'm tracking, it seems so silly, I'm tracking my walks, but I've been walking like 10 miles a day, every day all summer. So now I'm walking more miles in a week than I did when I was training for the marathon. But it's also because I live downtown and we have this amazing city and it's wonderful to walk around the city of Chicago. So I do it a lot.
Dude, that triggers me. Like I don't know if you've ever seen, I do morning runs. I try to do them as much as I can, but it was the city that kickstarted for me. Like I lived on Kinsey, and it was easy for me to get to Chicago River. And once you're on the river, like, I mean, you literally can run, follow the entire river. But it's like, it was just a moment to me to get out, put the AirPods on, get away. And you say 5 in the morning, I'm more like 6:30. But like I always mess with my friends or anybody that I know that
I also go to bed at 9, so.
Yeah. Well, I have friends that get up at 9.
Vicious
I'm like,
cycle.
what? You got up at 9 a.m.? What? That's like you missed 4 hours in the day already.
Right.
Like, there's so much to do early on.
And if you follow any of this stuff on, entrepreneurs and CEOs, I think a lot of us were early risers, and that's sort of how we start our day. There's some discipline behind that. You can get a lot done.
Like, I'm up sometimes. Well, no fault to my kids, but they get me up at like 5:30 themselves. But I'm happy for it. Like, I'm like, cool, man, thanks. Now I have to get up now. Now you kickstart. So another thing I wanted to talk about is, and you kind of touched on it earlier, is things that you would have done earlier, coaching we've talked about. But the Jamie today, right? What would the Jamie today?
So the number one thing I would have done is learn how to play golf. I say that because I'm learning this summer and it fucking sucks. But
you enjoy it. Or enjoy
I
trying to
hate
learn
it. I'm so competitive, and I'm used to like training, and the more I train, the better I can be great at a sport if I put the hours in. That does not translate into golf, so I'm having a really hard time reconciling that in my head. But I just keep going through the torture of playing. So yes, if I could tell my younger self something, I'd be like, learn to play golf when you're like 15.
For multiple reasons, though, right? Like golf itself because it's fun, but I'll tell you,
for everything else,
so much opportunities are unlocked. Like,
do you golf?
I'm trying. I'm learning. I'm not going to talk about what I shoot, but like I got a golf club set. I got shoes.
Me too.
I'll leave it there. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, you guys, we're going to take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsor. We'll be right back and continue to dig into more of Jamie Henry and Beeline Support.
We know managing a commercial cleaning company can be overwhelming. And let's not forget about managing your inventory and supplies. It's not an easy task to ensure you have everything you need to keep your operation running smoothly. That's why we're here, to help you take control of your business so you can do what you do best. Managing your business. Introducing Route Pulse, our innovative software designed specifically for commercial cleaning companies. We give you access to your data in real time to unlock the pulse of your business. With Route Pulse, you can streamline your operations, optimize your resources, and grow your business like never before. Join the Route Network today and supercharge your business. Discover the pulse of your business. Visit GetRoute.com Or click the link below and schedule a demo. And let Rao power your success.
Hey everybody, we're back. So, Jamie, let's continue this great conversation that we're having, right? So, I wanted to talk about is, you see it out there all the time, right? Leadership videos, mindset shift, motivation, inspiration. You have a lot of, you know a lot of the people in the industry. We go to BSCI, we see each other at ISSA all the time. People don't always get the chance to ask this kind of question, I think, is like, what motivates Jamie every morning or keeps you going every day in this industry? Because to be honest, this is a tough industry. Like there's
You think?
ups and downs. People talk about, talk about your wins. I tell people I intentionally share my wins anytime I can online because there's not that many. So when I do, I'm all for it. But like what drives you? Because most of the time we're dealing with complaints, we're dealing with issues, drama in the workspace. What pushes you? What inspires you to stay disciplined?
Well, I think some of that's just an internal drive that I have with, I don't have any like self-limiting beliefs. Like if I have some crazy goal, I don't have the thought that there's a reason why I can't get there. So I have this sort of silly optimistic view of the great things that we can do here. And so I just keep going after it. But what motivates me is this team too that we've built. We have all these wonderful people that work here, and we do celebrate wins together and building more opportunities. So this company was founded on promoting from within, and we live and die by that mission of bringing people up through the ranks of Beeline. So if you look at my team right now, my head of operations, he started boots on the ground as a cleaner. Now he heads 550 people. My director of human resources, she's been with me 18 years. She started when we had like 60 employees.
Years? Oh my God.
And she's been with us the whole time, and now she leads all of HRs. And we have a lot of stories like that. So all our managers, they're trained to look for those shining stars in the field and then promote them. Like we live and die by promoting people so that when they get to be, call it a day porter, a support personnel, a manager, they've already been in the shoes of the cleaner. And so they understand.
So empathy's there.
They understand the business. They understand what it takes. Yes,
So
exactly. So that's certainly a motivator to provide careers. We just launched Beeline University. So we're providing extra education for folks that are nominated to go through the university program. And then they're
because this comes at a cost,
positioned next in line
right?
for promotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a great segue for me is, so you're growing, you have growth in the company. What happens, Jamie, at the point, because I love the fact that you promote from within, but then we have, because I'm dealing with this is a personal, topic for us to talk about is you get to the point where I feel like maybe you can't promote anymore from within and you have to go outside to bring in. How have you successfully brought people from outside the organization to mix well with the internal?
Honestly, we haven't. I don't think we really have.
Never mind. No, because it's tough.
You know what? We
That's
did
tough,
it once,
right?
and it wasn't like the best experience. So, no, if you look at my executive team, everyone's from Beeline. So I haven't done it.
So you haven't crossed that path yet. Okay.
No.
Because do you see why it's tough?
And
right?
I think it would be
because the
such
current
a culture
team,
shift.
it's a culture shift.
I can't. It's hard to fathom what that would do to everybody. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
So,
I haven't experienced
what you're proving or validating is you don't always have to then, right? Like
You don't
you could
always have
still
to, right.
figure it out and continue to
That's
grow
exactly
that way.
right. Yeah.
Because we're like you, we're like same thing. I'm all with you on. It's cool for everybody to start. Not that they're starting from the bottom, but just learn that job first, right? And then if you're in charge of that person, like my cousin always says, is I'm not going to tell you to do something that I never did or wouldn't do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good indicator of like a good leader, right? And everybody that you got going in. So let's talk about Beeline as a whole now. So we've touched on it a couple times. Is obviously you guys can see it back here, right? Training is important for you, but even a step further is medical. So when did the medical vertical or sector become so important for Beeline?
So we touched on it. We had a few medical facilities back in the early 2000s, and then we picked up our first surgical center somewhere along the way, and we just really saw a niche and opportunity for this. And then we started cleaning a larger portfolio, and we made sure we were the experts in everything to do with medical grade cleaning. So we poured our hearts and souls into that education and really embrace that from the top down, including building this training center so that we can now train people on site with the full mock exam room, OR. And then I talked about Tom, our director of safety and compliance, who has these certifications that typically you'd only see in the EVS world.
And I would say EVS world, they're like working at a hospital.
Right, not in a janitorial company.
No, that's awesome. So I don't know if you guys caught that, but she said she's built her own mock-up rooms of exam rooms and just of a medical facility. Now, again, I love that you did that. Like it is a competitive advantage. Did the idea, was it an idea first and then you're like, oh, maybe we could do it? Or like when you guys thought of it, you were like, no, we're doing it?
No, it was definitely an idea first. And it took some time to get this built out. We started with just the exam room and the bathroom, and we modeled it after one of our largest clients, like exactly to their specs. When you walk in their exam room, it looks just like this.
That's got to be pretty cool for them to say, wait a minute, you have one of our places?
Yeah, down to like the paint color. And then the operating room, that came a couple years later. We're cleaning a lot of ORs and independent surgery centers. Okay. So the need for that. And then next up is possibly a patient room as well as we start to move into the hospital settings.
So you said OR room, because I know we get a lot of questions from, healthcare and medical is a big deal. Like people always, they are assuming it takes that next level of training, which obviously it does, right? OR room, like explain that a little bit for those that don't know. Like what is the difference between you're cleaning like in a dental suite or a primary care facility, but then now...
Yeah, the scope of cleaning in an operating room is completely different than in an exam room. It's going to take a cleaner or cleaners 45 minutes just to clean an OR because you're terminal cleaning, you're cleaning the walls top to bottom. It's a complete process versus you're not just doing the high touch.
Time,
that's
right?
every single time. Okay. Yeah. The nurses are typically doing the in-between patient cleanings, but the end-of-day cleaning is a full terminal clean. So it's a lot. I mean, there's blood and things that happen in ORs, right?
Yeah. So the people that are afraid of blood don't sign up to do OR cleaning. Yeah. So Jamie, talk about, because the fact that you have a training center, I know my teams, we're always talking about this, is like, there's always that struggle with, you want to do good training and you want to train on site, and you want to train people to do the job that they're about to walk into. But flip side, you don't always have the time, right? Like you win a big contract, you've got multiple locations you have to start. Yeah. Their first day sometimes is on site.
Yeah, the key is we have to train our managers. The managers are the ones on training. We have new employees all the time, right? So if we're training our managers here, because they're here all the time, and then we're training them repeatedly, I also think there's a lot to be said for repetition. It's not one and done. Like we can train them. If we don't do it again, like the next quarter, it has to be repetitive. So we're bringing people back here all the time at the management level so that every time they onboard a new employee, they understand what has to happen. It's not feasible to get every single person in here. But if we're training the trainers, we're a step ahead.
So, Mom, you were right. No, she told, my mom's our HR director, and she's like, Rick, why are you so fixated on we have to train all the technicians, on site, here, there? It's not always about it is about the technicians, but if we train then the managers, at least they have the knowledge base to go back.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Check. I came here, I learned something right there. See, you learn something every single day, guys. Now, continuing down this, so like, what is the bigger vision?
Next?
Yeah, because this is great. I mean, again, you have a good amount of space, but have you seen this be successful then?
Yeah, it's definitely successful. We're picking up more and more in the healthcare setting, more and more in the independent surgical sites. We're expanding into other states with it. And I think the next big movement, we'll see, but the procedures and the things that the hospitals are moving off-site are getting bigger and it's more frequent. Like they're doing less at the hospital and they're doing more at these off-sites, but then there may be a need to versus traditional EVS that might be outsourced. So we're ready for that next step too, when the hospitals start to outsource versus having their own EVS.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I mean, because that makes me think like, this has got to be a part of the presentation, right? When you're talking to them, like not everybody can say this because you guys actually, you invested, right? You really did. You invested into and it's not just, we had the space, so we wanted to build it out. No, it's the program behind it, the training that goes involved with it. Now, talking about training, again, the team, the culture that you have, are there things you're doing for management and leadership that you're sending them the programs? You're sending, like, is there other things that you're doing for them? Because you said, right, the training never stops.
Never stops.
What about,
Yeah. So
what about management from a leadership and like people perspective?
Yeah, so our training we've built in-house. I want to call it proprietary, but we take a lot of pride in the training that we provide, and we didn't want to buy like a cookie cutter module from an outside organization. So when it comes to our training protocol for cleaning an exam room or an OR or a school setting, that's all in-house that we've developed, and we've developed with our own footage, and it sits in our own LMS system. So yes, and then we use great organizations like BSCI for the training of our managers and webinars and operations summits, and you name it, we participate. Yeah.
So you led me into another good topic.
Yeah.
BSCI, ISSA, I'm always, I'm
Right.
an advocate, I'm always talking about it. I've seen you there, we're always there together. You've won a few awards there. How, I don't mean to beat a dead horse here, but how important has that been? Like,
Listen,
again.
So perfect example, very important, but not just from an educational standpoint and for things that I can bring back to my company and my team, but from a friendship standpoint.
I was going to talk about
I was
that.
in a state for whatever reason on Monday night. I was super frustrated about something personal. I think one of my kids aggravated me, and I was just like white with anger. And I got in my car, we were headed to dinner, and Janelle Brulin called me, like completely out of the blue. And so you probably know her. She's been in the industry forever. Terrell.
That's Terrell's mom.
Terrell's
right?
mom,
Okay.
right? So we go way back. And she just
I never
called
met
to say
Janelle.
hello.
I know Terrell. I have never met
Okay, well,
Janelle.
you need to meet Janelle.
Okay.
At the CEO conference, she's a speaker.
Okay.
So if you go. But anyway, it was just so nice to hear that voice, and long-term friend of probably 20 years at this point. And so people like her, my best friend Claudia, I've met through BSCI, and I have a funny story. Maybe she told you how we met, but
She didn't. I was actually.
I'm not going to tell
okay.
you. But we met in Nashville.
Okay.
She was on a park bench. I'll
That's
leave it
it.
at that.
We'll leave it at
Yeah.
that. Park
and
bench.
I was
Claudia, I'm going to talk
bringing
about
home
the park bench.
McDonald's really late or something like that, and offered her some hotcakes. But yeah, some of my very best friends are from BSCI, and there's not a lot of people that understand, right? They don't live this day to day. We're a select group, especially if you're talking about the female owners in the business. I probably know most of them. There's not a ton.
There's not a
I don't know most of them, but we.
Well, there's more and more, I would tell
There's
you.
more
It's like-
now,
and I'm
yeah.
trying, Jamie. This is why I know we have a lot of people that come to Cleaning the Cocktails, and they are women owners, smaller businesses,
That's
right?
great.
That
Yeah,
are
so happy
hungry,
to hear
they're
all that,
growing.
yeah.
Like for you guys, I told you, I told them I was going to have more and more women owners
Mm-hmm.
that are, BSCs, larger enterprise companies, showing that it is being done. They're out
Yeah,
there.
for
You're
sure.
busy, right? You're busy being productive, but my goal is to connect you guys all, right? Like a lot of people don't know about the ISSA Hygeia group, right? Like
Yeah.
there is organizations, but we got to continue to talk about them, right? So you guys can all connect. And you said it, like I have friends too that I would never have been friends with them if it
Right.
wasn't for those organizations. And it's like they're vacations in a way when we get away.
Yeah.
But it's still business though. Like at the same time, you're having fun talking business, but still enjoying there's a personal aspect.
Yeah,
to it.
and for me, there's so much history. These are people like they know my kids since they were like toddlers, and now they're 18 and 21. So there's a lot. It's
been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time for
Nice.
the organization. Mhm.
So, Jamie, as we wrap, what are some words or things that we haven't talked about that you'd like to share with again those that they may be there in their first year of business, they may be in their third or fourth, upset, struggling, frustrated.
Yeah.
What's some things that you can share with them to get them over that hump or push them through?
I mean, one thing that comes to mind, I think this is a great industry for a number of reasons. It's scalable. I heard Jim Harris say it really eloquently at one of the seminars I was at recently, but it's a very scalable model. We have something that once you've got the setup, you can grow, and it's like a monthly subscription model, right?
No,
I mean,
yeah,
people
there's
strive
recurring
to
revenue.
find that type of business. It's recurring revenue, it's scalable, and if you structure it right, you can be successful at it. We're also in this really cool time that people appreciate what we do. They understand how important it is to have a clean workspace and what
I've got more
pathogens
thank
are
you,
and all
yeah.
these things that nobody talked about before. Now it's so important. So it's a great time to start building a business in this industry. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm sure if I ask you, I'm going to share some of your information to everybody in the group for people to contact. Don't be afraid to reach out to Jamie. Again, we're here in Chicago, our hometown. I'm excited to get the opportunity for everybody here to have listened to Jamie's story. She's not done yet, right? I mean, what does the next 5-10 years look like for Jamie?
More of the same and more states. Yes.
More so. Ooh,
Yeah.
national footprint. Okay.
Yeah.
How many states are we in right now?
3.
3. All right. All right.
Yeah.
So 10 by the next 3-4 years?
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jamie, thank you so much. I know we didn't even get the chance to cheers, but
Yeah,
let's
cheers.
just say
Thank you so
cheers.
much for coming out.
Thank you. I
Appreciate it.
you. And everybody, thank you again for tuning in to Cleaning and Cocktails. As always, we'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Thank you so much.